Hey guys, it's John here. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the OwnHammer Workhorse V30 Impulse Response Pack from the Line 6 Marketplace. I'm going to be showing you how to load these files onto your Line 6 hardware device or plugin, and I'm also going to demonstrate some basic usage of these impulse responses on your guitar tones. So let's start by taking a look at how to purchase these files from the Line 6 Marketplace. So as you can see, we are now in the Line 6 Marketplace over here. Let's start by going to the OwnHammer menu down here on the left. And let's scroll down to the OwnHammer Workhorse V30 package and click on that. And on this product page, you can see some of the basic features such as the cabinet types, the speaker options, and the voicing options as well. Then we're going to click on Add to Cart. Now that the product has been added to your shopping cart, you can click on Proceed to Checkout to proceed to the payment. And now we're on the billing address or billing information page where your address is stated. Then click on Next and choose your payment option, which is PayPal or Pay by Card. And what follows next is pretty self-explanatory. After that, you will receive a couple of emails from Line 6 regarding the purchase of your product. And to download the files, simply go to your Line 6 account over here, click on the Helix Marketplace tab, and over here you can download the OwnHammer Workhorse V30 package. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to click on this link over here, and I'm going to download the files onto my F drive over here. And now that the zip file, including all the IRs, has been downloaded onto your drive, we're going to need to extract the files. So I'm just going to extract all the files over here. So now that the files have been extracted, let's go ahead and click on this folder to see what's inside. So over here you can see all the folders for the different cabinet types, including the 1x12s, 2x12s, 4x12s, 6x12s, the special multi-mix files, and the summary folder. The summary folder can be a great place to start as it includes single files for each cabinet and speaker option as well as the multi-mixes. So we have the multi-mix files, the V30 Modern, the V30 Vintage, and the V30 Blend speaker option over here. Let's click on the V30 Vintage speaker option. And as you can see, for each single cabinet there is one file. And the summary files tend to be just very balanced overall, so again, a great place to start. And now let's click on one of the single cabinet folders to see what's inside. Let's go for the 4x12 oversized cabinet. Click on the V30 option, and then over here you can see all the different voicing options for the speaker types. So we have the V30 Modern files over here, the V30 Vintage files over here, and the V30 Blend files over here. And each of those have the same voicing options, which are high gain, live sound, low gain, mid gain, and solo lead. And I think that those names are pretty self-explanatory. And if you want to dive even deeper and have more control over the darkness or brightness of your IR files, you can click on the Extended folder. And this folder contains the same speaker options and the same voicing options. So HG stands for high gain, for example. But with the numbers going from 1 to 5, you can choose how bright or dark your impulse response is. So the 1 files are the brightest and the 5 files are the darkest. And just for reference, the files in the regular speaker folder are all the balanced number 3 option. And then we have the unique and special multi-mix files over here as well. And those include a very similar feature set with the regular files over here. And upon clicking on the extended folder, you will also be presented with the 1 to 5 brightness or darkness options. And of course, for more detailed information about the contents of this package, I always recommend checking out the PDF manual in the docs folder. Now let's go ahead and put some of these IRs to use. I've got some guitar tracks loaded up in my DAW, and I'm using Helix Native to process these tracks. But as of now, I do not have any IR tracks loaded onto these tracks yet. So let's take a listen to how this sounds without an impulse response. So yeah, that does not sound very good, of course, so we're going to need to load some impulse responses onto those tracks. Now, of course, since I am in my DAW, I'm using Helix Native, the plugin version of Helix for my guitar tracks. But the process of loading these impulse responses onto your Line 6 hardware, such as the HX Stomp or Helix, is exactly the same. So the basic idea to get these files to properly load onto your device or plugin is that you have to be logged into your Line 6 account over here. And once you've done that, you can load your impulse responses over here in the Impulse Responses tab. And of course, I must also mention that it's always advisable to be on the latest versions of the plugins or editors. Now to load these files onto your Line 6 hardware, you're going to need to use the HX or Helix Edit program. But of course, we're now in Helix Native, but as I said before, the process is exactly the same. So the first tones that we're going to be looking at are some clean tones with my Telecaster, and I'm on the Cali, Texas Channel 2 amplifier, along with some room reverb. The only thing that I do not have loaded yet is an impulse response, so we're going to load some over here. First, click on the slot or slots in which you want to import your impulse responses, and then click on Import. Now, the cabinet that I have in mind for this tone would be a 2x12 cabinet, maybe with a semi-open back. So let's scroll down to the 2x12s and let's click on the half-back cabinet. And since these are clean tones, I'm going to want to use the low-gain voicing type. So let's go ahead and load the low-gain voicing type for both the modern and vintage speaker option. Here we go. And there you go, the files have been loaded onto Helix Native. Let's start by trying the V30 modern speaker option. Now let's go ahead and take a listen. That sounds absolutely great, just what I had in mind. Now for the purpose of this demonstration, let's also try the vintage V30 option. That also sounds great. As you may have noticed, the vintage speaker option has a bit more of a warm and round sound to it, and the modern voicing is a bit brighter and more open sounding. For this clean part, I think I actually prefer the vintage voicing. So there you go, this tone is done. Now let's take a look at some classic rock crunch tones that I have going on over here. And let's start by listening to the guitars without an impulse response block on it. Again, that does not sound very good. A guitar tone does not sound very nice without a cabinet on it. Now for this part, I have a sort of classic British guitar tone in mind. So let's go ahead and take a look at what sort of speaker options could be suitable for this part. Let's go to the Impulse Responses tab again and click on Import. And this time, let's go over to the 4x12 cabinet options. And let's go for the 4x12 basket weave this time. And for these tones, I want to try the V30 Vintage again. And since we're dealing with some crunchy mid-gain tones, we're going to click on the mid-gain voicing over here. And for fun, let's also try the V30X or the 50/50 speaker blend option this time. So that's the mid-gain voicing for both speaker options. And we've loaded the files over here, as you can see. So let's start by taking a listen to the V30 Vintage speaker option with the mid-gain voicing. Here we go. Great, that sounded absolutely perfect for what I had in mind. And now for the purpose of this demonstration, let's also take a listen to the V30X speaker option, which again is a 50/50 blend between the V30 Vintage and V30 Modern. That also sounded really, really good. I think the V30X had a little bit more bite and clarity to it, so I'm going to stick with the V30X this time. And finally, we've got some modern rock tones going on over here. Again, let's take a listen without the cabinets. Again, not the type of sound we're looking for, so let's go ahead and load up some impulse responses to make this sound very nice. So for these tones, we've got the archetype lead amplifier going on. And for the cabinet tones, I'm going to want to use something big and modern. So again, let's go ahead and load up some new impulse responses into here. Click on the Impulse Response tab again, click on some empty slots and click on Import. And this time, like I said, we're going for something big and modern. So I'm going to go for the 4x12 oversized cabinet option. And since we're dealing with modern rock tones, I'm going to go ahead and choose the V30 Modern speaker option with the high gain voicing. Now let's take a listen to how that sounds in the mix. As you could hear, all of these tones sounded very good, and it took very little effort to get these tones to where they are now. I hope you enjoyed this video. For more information about the OwnHammer Workhorse V30 IR pack, visit the Line 6 Marketplace, or ownhammer.com/line6. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!